Can he refuse to be a backup? Huh? Then what's going to happen this week? Big Deke news. When it came down to announcing the Steelers' starting quarterback for this week's upcoming matchup, this time around, Mike Tomlin played absolutely no waiting games. In yesterday's press conference, he was pretty decisive in his decision.
We're going to leave the ball in Mason Rudolph's hands. He's done a good job, and we've done a good job in the most recent 2 weeks. We've taken care of the ball. He's taken care of the ball. We've scored points at a rate in which we hadn't done to this point this year. And with the urgency of the moment and because of those reasons, we're going to leave the ball in his hands.
So there's that, and I think we all agree that this is the correct move. Even the staunchest of Kenny supporters, even those that think he can still be a good quarterback in the NFL or could still be a part of the Steelers' future, you can't deny what you're seeing out there with Mason Rudolph at the quarterback position. This is the best the Steelers' offense has looked in 2 years. This is the best quarterback play we've gotten here in Pittsburgh over the last 2 years. Pickens is getting featured like he's supposed to. The running game has been awesome. The O-line looks better. The defense has some spark, has a little extra juice, even with all the injuries that they suffered. The Mason effect has been real. So even though Mason Rudolph has been named the starter, that hasn't stopped Kenny Pickett stories from making their rounds in the news. And specifically, I'm talking about the rumor about what took place with Kenny and being inactive on Sunday's game against the Seahawks. A lot of speculation from unnamed sources. You got the main one that started yesterday with Mark Madden. He said, just got told that Pickett 100% refused to be the backup, that the Steelers writers know that but won't write it. And then you had other Steelers reporters out there kind of backing what Madden had to say. Donnie Football says rising Steelers insider at Fairball FB buys into what the veterans in his field are insinuating. He thinks that there's something fishy about Kenny Pickett being a healthy scratch yesterday in Seattle. Added that Pickett could be disgruntled with how things are being handled at quarterback. Mike J. Asti says, hearing from some people I trust who would know and have never let me down on Steelers info in the past, that what Madden said about Pickett not wanting to be Mason's backup is true. As I said, that's a really bad look for a guy who hasn't proved himself in the NFL. And then today, Chris Muller from 93.7 The Fan said, my 2 cents on everyone's favorite story. I've heard from multiple credible people that at a bare minimum, Pickett was very unhappy that he wasn't starting against Seattle and that his being inactive, whether by his choice or Tomlin's, was a direct result of that. Happy New Year. But then on the flip side, DK from DK Pittsburgh Sports has his own report, which makes it seem like the catalyst for Pickett being inactive wasn't Pickett just flat out saying, I refuse to be the backup. Here's what he had to say. On top of the other original reporting I just shared below regarding Kenny Pickett, I'm now informed by an impeccable team source that Pickett and Mike Tomlin had a conversation upon the Steelers' arrival in Seattle, and it was within this conversation that it was decided Pickett wouldn't suit up as the number 3, and for the very reasons laid out in my previous file just below, he hadn't been cleared to play until Thursday, which Tomlin deemed too late in the week. As I wrote below, nothing to see here, like at all. Anyone still need more? To piggyback off that report, this is specifically what Tomlin had to say on why at least Kenny Pickett wasn't dressed to be the emergency third quarterback out there. Goes on to say, because again, the likelihood of that coupled with the risk in terms of what I didn't see for him, it would have been speculating. And I just, I'm not into speculating. But finally, just about an hour or two ago, the man himself, Kenny Pickett, responded to all these reports and rumors that are being thrown out there.
Hopefully this answers a lot of things before it gets started. I saw reports out there that I feel like we're attacking, my character and how I am as a person, not even getting into a player standpoint of it. There was no talk of me being a backup quarterback this week in terms of being a 2. If I was healthy enough to play and the trainers and coaches felt like I looked good enough to play, I was going to start and play. If they believed that I was not, which they believed I was not going to dress and suit up for the game. So whoever reported that, I don't know where it started. It's kind of crazy what people will write and put out there to try to, prove their point or help their standpoint or their careers and what you guys do. But disappointing to see that without any proof or basis of it. So this week I'm now the 2. They feel good 4 weeks out of the surgery for me to dress and be the 2. So I will be the 2 and do what I have to do to be ready to go for Baltimore. So if there's any other questions about that, I feel like I answered it pretty good there. If there's anything else, is there any Baltimore questions that we get on the Baltimore?
So you never had any say in whether you wanted to be the 2 or the.
No, I feel like I answered very clearly there.
Okay, then. That settles everything, right? Not so fast. Now, in terms of what Kenny Pickett said here, I agree with him. I support him on this because all these reports and rumors and speculation, it is literally just that. It's coming from unnamed sources. It's just he said, he said. Could those reports be true? Yes. Could they also not be true? Yes. So what are we saying here? It's almost like Mike Tomlin saying something, but also at the same time saying absolutely nothing. You could throw out a report, you could throw out a story, doing that with anyone. It just so happens that we're talking about Kenny Pickett, who is the biggest name in Steelers football right now, and that's going to garner the most attention, the most buzz. I'm giving the dude the benefit of the doubt because what he said here, we kind of expected, right? It's not like he's going to say, oh, yeah, everything that they're saying about me refusing to be a backup in the Seattle game's true. Confirmed. I'm a terrible teammate. No, we knew he was going to say something along the lines here. But why I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt is there has literally never been a report or story about Kenny Pickett being a bad teammate up to this point. So, like, why are we just going to take this outlier story and judge his character off that? In fact, everything we've heard about Pickett, whether it's coming from his teammates or those within the Steelers organization, it points to him being the opposite. They say that he is a good leader, that he is a good teammate, that he is selfless. So why are we going to let some rumors and speculation popping up from unnamed sources change how we view Pickett as a person and also a teammate? And he's human. Like, you could tell he's pissed about his role change in his interview. But at the same time, he is still accepting of being the backup going into this Ravens game. So why would he have not been accepting of that role going into Seattle? I will admit, though, something was off with how the Steelers quarterback situation was handled heading into Week 17. Like, what's going on there? Like, Pickett said in this interview he would have been named the starter if he was cleared to be healthy. But then there are some reports out there that say Pickett was healthy, yet was still listed as inactive. That one came from Jerry Dulac. And then just the fact, too, that all of a sudden, just a day after the Seattle game, Pickett is cleared to go against the Ravens. You mean to tell me he couldn't have at least been there for the emergency QB3 situation? I know he didn't get the reps or anything, but you could have put him as the emergency QB3. You still could have had Mitch as the backup. Like, why risk running into a 49ers NFC championship scenario when this is a do-or-die game for your team? Like, your backs are against the wall, your playoff lives are on the line. Just at least have Pickett as the emergency third quarterback. Like, that doesn't hurt anyone. It doesn't take up a roster spot. That's why the rule is in place. Definitely something weird to all this. Makes me wonder that if Mason didn't have the type of game that he did against Cincy, that Pickett may have just been healthy enough to go against Seattle to get that start. But since Mason balled out, maybe the Steelers staff just wanted to wait an extra week just to be sure Kenny was 100% healthy, or rather 110% healthy. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about this whole Kenny Pickett saga. I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of Big Deke News. Stay chillin' and peace.